My name is Mario B. Sekno, BS Criminology student, Section OL 22 and 31, Subject CPCLJ1, and I am here to recite the classification of penalties under Article 25 of RPC and the scale of principal and accessory penalties, duration of penalties, Article 27, successive service of sentence under Article 70 of the RPC, and the meaning of complex crimes under Article 48. First, here is the classification of penalties under Article 25 of the RPC. Under Article 25 of the RPC, penalties are classified into two. First is the principal, who is provided by law for a felony and which is imposed by the court expressly upon conviction. And next is the accessory, deemed included in the imposition of the principal penalty. Under Article 25, the penalties which may be imposed and their different classes are this includes in the following. Next is the scale, principal penalties. Capital punishment, death. Afflictive penalties, reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal, perpetual or temporal absolute disqualification, perpetual temporal special disqualification, and a prison mayor. Next is the correctional penalties, prison correctional, arresto mayor, suspension, and destierro. And the light penalties is arresto minor and public censure. Next is penalty common to the three preceding classes, fine and bond to keep the peace. Next is the accessory penalties, principal or temporary absolute disqualifications, perpetual or temporal special disqualification, suspension from public office, the right to vote and be voted for the profession or calling, civil interdiction, indemnification, forfeiture of confiscation of instrument and proceeds of the offense, and payment of cost. Next one is the duration of penalties under Article 27. Reclusion perpetua is 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. Reclusion temporal is 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. Prison mayor and temporary disqualification is 6 years and 1 day to 12 years, except when the penalty of disqualification is imposed as an accessory penalty, in which case its duration shall be that of the principal penalty. Prison correctional, suspension, and destierro, 6 months and 1 day to 6 years, except when suspension is imposed as an accessory penalty, in which case its duration shall be that of the principal penalty. Arresto mayor, 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. Arresto minor, 1 day to 30 days. Bond to keep peace. The bond shall be required to cover such period of time as the court may determine as amended by Section 21 Republic Act number 7659. Reclusion perpetua is an indivisible penalty. Despite its defined duration, reclusion perpetua is still to be classified as an indivisible penalty. The destierro, it is a punishment whereby the convict is a banished to certain place and is prohibited from entering or coming near the place designated in the sentence not less 25 kilometer but not extend beyond 250 kilometers. If the convict should enter the prohibited place designated in the sentence, he commits the crime of evasion of sentence. This trial is imposed in the following: serious physical injuries or death under exceptional circumstances under Article 247. In case of failure to give bond for good behavior, Article 284, as a penalty for the concubine in concubinage, Article 334, and in case where after reducing the penalty by one or more degrees distiero is the proper penalty. Successive service of sentences under Article 70 of the RPC. The penalties in the order of severity and for the purpose of successive service of sentence have the following scale. First is the Death Republic Act number 9346, signed into law on June 24, 2006, prohibited the imposition of the death penalty, reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal, prison mayor, prison correctional, arresto mayor, arresto minor, destierro, perpetual absolute disqualification, temporary absolute disqualification, suspension from public office, the right to vote and be voted for the right to follow profession and or calling, and a public censure. Next is, and last, was the meaning of the complex crime or the compound crime and complex crime proper. When a single act constitutes two or more grave or less grave felonies of when an offense is a necessary means for committing the other, the penalty for the most serious crime shall be imposed, to be applied in its maximum period under Article 48 of the RPC. Article 48 speaks of two types of complex crimes. First is when a single act constitutes two or more grave or less grave felonies. It is called compound crime or delito compuesto. And the one is when an offense is a necessary means of committing the other, or the complex crime proper, or the delito complejo. Article 48 is not applicable in case of special complex crimes, specifically provided for in the RPC like robbery with homicide or rape or with arson. It applies only when no specific penalty is stated in the law. In complex crime, although two or more crimes are actually committed, they constitute only one crime in the eyes of the law. The offender has only one criminal intent. Hence, there is only one penalty imposed. That's all. Thank you.